Welcome to Stick to Sports. I'm Zach Malamud.
And I'm Joey Pulaski. Today, Gonzaga gets bounced in the Sweet 16, St. Peter's run comes to an end, and Duke and UNC face off in the Final Four.
Roll it. The number 2 seeded Villanova Wildcats advanced to their 7th Final Four with a 50-44 win against the 5 seed Houston Cougars on Saturday. Villanova forward Jermaine Samuels led the Wildcats with 16 points and 10 rebounds. Villanova is now 20-3 in the NCAA tournament since 2016. Joey, what was the key to Villanova's win on Saturday?
I mean, the first thing that stands out is obviously the defense. Winning a game, scoring just 50 points, especially in March, really doesn't happen too often. But holding a really solid Houston team to just 44 points is just a testament to the defense. Another thing, obviously, this is Villanova's turning into a blue blood program. They've made so many deep runs these past few years. We're used to seeing them make Elite Eight, Final Four runs. I mean, this really isn't much of a shocker anymore. The leadership of Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright come to mind, and Justin Moore going down and giving them a little inspiration may not have hurt either.
Yeah, I look at Villanova as the smartest team in college basketball. They are unbelievable when it comes to free throw shooting as well. And one of the best teams in college basketball, you would have to say, under Jay Wright. I'm looking at Villanova and now going up against Kansas. It's going to be a really, really tight matchup. And Villanova, you look at the free throw shooting as well as just the smarts of this team, the IQ that every single one of these players has. And Colin Gillespie, I'm looking one of the best players in all of college basketball. He's unbelievable.
Coach K is heading to his 13th Final Four in his illustrious career as the Duke Blue Devils knocked off Arkansas 78-69 in the Elite Eight on Saturday. 4 Duke starters went for double digits, and A.J. Griffin led the Blue Devils with 18 points. Coach K has reached the Final Four in every region of the bracket, the East, South, Midwest, and now the West. Zach, what stood out to you the most in Duke's Elite Eight victory?
It was just all Duke's top players just stepping up, and you could go down the list. There's 5 or 6 of them that had an unbelievable game against Arkansas. Specifically, A.J. Griffin, absolutely on fire, especially from three-point range, and a lot of credit to Mark Williams down low, going up against a player in Jalen Williams that feeds off double-doubles, especially in the NCAA tournament. For Mark Williams to pretty much slow down Jalen Williams, and then up top, the guards trying to slow down J.D. Notae of Arkansas. Duke, every single player stepped up, and that's why they won against Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm with you definitely. AJ Griffin and Mark Williams inside really stood out to me. The 2 big men for Duke were very impressive. You add a top 5 pick in Paulo Banchero into the mix, and I feel like really as soon as Duke went and won this game, it really seemed like destiny that UNC was going to go beat St. Peter's, punching a ticket to the Final Four. And obviously the leadership of Coach K and bringing this younger team together, it's just a great team they have down in Durham this year.
The number 8 seeded North Carolina Tar Heels took down the 15 seeded St. Peter's Peacocks 69-49 to end the Peacocks' Cinderella run in the Elite Eight. North Carolina forward Armando Bacot had 20 points and 22 rebounds, with 15 of those rebounds coming in the first half alone. But a lot of the eyes were on St. Peter's after becoming the first 15 seed ever to advance to the Elite Eight. Joey, is this the best Cinderella run we've ever seen in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, I would say it's got to be one of, or I would say probably the best, but definitely one of the best runs we've seen. Like you said, the first 15 seed to ever advance to the Elite Eight. Even just Doug Edert stealing the hearts of America, and he's not even a starter on the squad. Shaheen Holloway doing a fantastic job stringing together some amazing quotes along the way. But just what they did in knocking off Kentucky, then the win against Murray State seemed a little predictable, but then to go into that second weekend with Purdue having a scouting report on St. Peter's for the entire week and still being able to knock off a talented Boilermaker squad is very impressive. And this St. Peter's team kind of reminds me of that old Florida Gulf Coast team, but I would say this run's more impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably put it at the top just because they made it so far as a 15 seed. Everybody is going to talk about Loyola Chicago and the Cinderella run, but they were an 11 seed. They probably had an easier path. They didn't have to go through Kentucky and Purdue, 2 and 3 seeds. But it just showed the strength and the courage of St. Peter's to go up against big men on both sides and really step up against both teams in Kentucky and Purdue and come out with victories.
Kansas punched their ticket to be the lone 1 seed to reach this year's Final Four after a 76-50 victory against number 10 Miami. The Jayhawks shot 50% from the field and out-rebounded Miami 41-28 in their 26-point blowout. Zach, how shocked are you that Kansas is the lone 1 seed to reach the Final Four this year?
It is pretty crazy because that's not really the team I expected. I expected Gonzaga. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But Kansas was blowing out almost every team, and they went up against the Miami team and blew the doors off of them in the second half. Christian Braun, as well as Ochai Agbaji, just getting involved, and the star players stepping up in the second half. And big play down low by David McCormick. Nobody could stop him. But Kansas, just every single one of their players stepping up, and this Miami team looked really silly in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, coming into March, I had Arizona to win to win all of March Madness. So on a scale of that, it surprises me just a little bit. But just looking at it, obviously, I probably shouldn't have picked Arizona. Not a great program, but with Kansas, Bill Self, the talent this team has, a blue blood of college basketball. In that regard, it's really not that surprising. But at the end of the day, they beat a number 10 seed in the Sweet 16. So as soon as they got that matchup between having to play either Miami or Iowa State, it seemed like it was going to be a decently easy win for the Jayhawks, and they just went out and got the job done.
We're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Up next, we take a look at the biggest stories from the Sweet 16 and preview the Final Four this weekend. Stay tuned on WTOP 10.
Athletics. Aaron, there were 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups.
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. The top-ranked and #1 seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs were upset by the 4-seeded Arkansas Razorbacks 74-68 on Thursday. J.D. Notae dropped 21 points and Jalen Williams helped out with 15 points and 12 rebounds for Arkansas. Drew Timmy's 25 points weren't enough for the Zags, who failed yet again to bring home a national championship. Joey, is this a case of same old Gonzaga?
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, just this weekend in the Final Four, it's pretty much a blue blood invitational with the teams we have. Gonzaga's just not quite there. I mean, props to Arkansas. J.D. Notae is one of the better players in college basketball this year. Eric Musselman always gets this Razorback squad ready in March. So it didn't really shock me too much that they were able to defeat Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. But at the end of the day, this is just the same old Gonzaga. They're not battle-tested coming into March. They had a regular season loss to St. Mary's, but besides that, there's so many good basketball teams on the West Coast. Davidson, UCLA's out there, but there's so many solid programs. UCLA, USC, both in the tournament out of the Pac-12. Join the Pac-12, at least if you're not going to win the conference, be battle-tested when you come into March.
Yeah, I agree. And BYU, we're seeing out of the WCC going into the Big 12 in a couple of years. Gonzaga needs to get out of there. They need to get out of the WCC because when they get to March, they have to play probably 6 or 7 teams that they would play in those top conferences. So they're not getting that experience. It's happening in non-conference, but it's just not working for the Zags. The 15th-seeded St. Peter's Peacocks knocked off the 3-seeded Purdue Boilermakers 67-64. Purdue were forced into 15 turnovers in this one, with star point guard and potential lottery pick Jaden Ivey being held to just 9 points on 33% shooting. The Boilermakers end their season with a 29-8 record. Joey, even with 2 dominant big men down low, what went wrong for the Boilermakers?
I mean, this game kind of just seemed like Purdue just got beat just straight up. They had all week to scout St. Peter's, and at the end of the day, it seemed like Purdue kind of just played down to St. Peter's MAC mid-region level of play rather than forcing St. Peter's to play up to that Power 5 level of play. And like you said, Jaden Ivey just 9 points, didn't really have himself a great game, 15 turnovers as well. St. Peter's was able to just muck it up, play their style, play gritty, play difficult, and St. Peter's played their style, set the game on their terms early, and went out and got the win.
Yeah, St. Peter's is the kind of team, if they keep it close, you're in trouble because they're going to keep answering every single punch you throw at them. But we watched North Carolina beat St. Peter's just a couple of days ago, and Purdue probably should have had the same game plan as Carolina. Get it down low to the big men. Williams and Edey, who was for Purdue, but they didn't get them involved too much, and it really hurt them, and they're knocked out. The 5-seeded Houston Cougars crushed the number 1-seeded Arizona Wildcats 72-60 on Thursday. The guard battle between Houston star Jamal Shead and Arizona star Benedict Mathurin favored Shead in the end with 21 points and 6 assists. Joey, was this bad Arizona or good Houston?
I mean, I would say this is probably good Houston. At the end of the day, I think most of it just comes down to March experience. Arizona, when we think of March, you really don't think about them too often. You think of some of the blue bloods that we're seeing in the Final Four. You think about Kentucky, Michigan maybe. You really don't think about a team like Arizona. We've also seen Houston, even though they're usually somewhere in that 3 to 6 seeded range, I feel like we've seen them make plenty of runs, whether it be to the Sweet 16, Elite 8. So this win from Houston really doesn't shock me too much, as this Arizona squad, we're really not used to seeing them make deep runs, but I would give props to Houston for winning this game. Arizona was probably also a little gassed from the night before in their overtime win, but still a great win for Houston.
Yeah, I think it was probably bad Arizona, and it was just because they could not score against that Houston defense. Houston's defense is pretty tough, but Arizona really needed to step up on offense, and they couldn't.
One of the greatest rivalries in sports, the Tobacco Road rivalry, will be renewed Saturday night with a chance to the championship game on the line. While Coach K is one of, if not the most decorated coaches of all time, he's not yet played against nemesis UNC in the tournament. Duke opens as a 4-point favorite. Zach, who do you like to win this game?
All right, here we go. The big question right here, Duke against Carolina. I'm going to go with Duke in this one just because both meetings were basically blowouts. They had double-digit wins for each side. It was Duke at the Dean Dome, and then it was Carolina in Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. I like Duke in this one. I just think in March, I don't think Coach K is going to go down to North Carolina. It's just not going to happen again. He learned his lesson with the meeting at Cameron Indoor, and he'll try and fix it up. Duke has more talent than this North Carolina team. It's just flat out there, and I think Duke wins this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Duke's going to take it. Like you said, it's just flat out talent. When the talent from Duke favors them, obviously the coaching favors them. Any single basketball game they're in, the coaching is going to favor them. I have Duke winning this one. Baycott and Manick have been strong inside for UNC all of March. I'm a big fan of both of them inside, but Williams and Griffin on the inside for Duke. Add in Paulo Banchero. This is a tough Duke team to beat. I think the Blue Devils are going to take it. Number 1 Kansas will take on number 2 Villanova in the opening game of the Final Four Saturday at 6 o'clock. In what seems to be the overlooked game of the night, even though it features the only remaining 1 seed, Kansas is currently a 4.5-point favorite. Zach, how do you see this game going?
I'm going to go with the Villanova Wildcats in this one. I just think the smarts of Villanova, as well as the work that they put in each and every game on the defensive side, will win them this game. And they're probably the only team left that can win by scoring 50 points, but also scoring 70 points. And I think that's a huge difference in March, as well as free throw shooting. The best ever free throw shooting team in NCAA history, the Villanova Wildcats from this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I also have Villanova taking this one just because, like you said, they can win fast, they can win slow, they can beat you in so many different ways. It would be so hard to bet against a Villanova team that just held a very high-powered Houston team to just 44 points last weekend. Colin Gillespie, Jay Wright. I mean, this Villanova team has so much experience, and it's going to come key this Saturday against Kansas. We discussed our predictions for who we think will punch a ticket to the championship game, but Zach, who do you see winning your hypothetical championship? What are your keys to victory?
It's a really hard one right here. I am going to go with the Villanova Wildcats. I think they take down Duke in the championship game, and Coach K goes out in the championship game with a loss. But I think Villanova, just the talent they have, and I know that Justin Moore is not going to be there, but you bet that Jay Wright is going to have a game plan for his Wildcats with or without Justin Moore. I just think Villanova, everything they do in the game is just, it's so good from Jay Wright's team, and I think they will bring home another national championship.
I'm going to disagree with you here. I have Duke winning this championship, as much as it pains me to say. I feel like it's just too perfect with how this ending is kind of going for Coach K. Really not dominating any real stellar teams. You're going to beat a UNC team in one of their weaker years in the 2000s. Then you're going to go beat a Villanova team without one of their top players. It kind of seems storybook just with how Coach K's career has gone, with a little bit of controversy around it. I could see him winning in this final season, but just a little asterisk next to it, a little soft way to go out. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Zach will be joined by Ben Diamond. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union Building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. It's time for the fast break. Joining me now is Ben Diamond, one of our producers. Ben, what do you have for us tonight?
Thanks, Zach. I'm going to move over to a couple off seasons here. After signing former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, the Chiefs offense looked to be at its best with Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, and Schuster. but in a shocking turn of events, Hill is headed to Miami to be paired up with Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins have made a bunch of moves this offseason, including the hiring of new head coach Mike McDaniel, showing the league they are ready to win after a 9-8 season.
All right, let's just get one thing out of the way. The Chiefs tried to sign Tyreek Hill. They tried to extend him. He wanted way too much money, and props to the Chiefs for not budging and just ended up trading him. They got 5 draft picks for him. That is a lot for a wide receiver, and he got that big contract, 4 years, $120 million. But I'm looking at the Chiefs right now, and they'll be perfectly fine. They have Juju Smith-Schuster now. They also have Travis Kelce still there. But Miami, let's see if Tua can throw the ball deep to try and find Tyreek Hill. He already has Jalen Waddle, and he had an unbelievable rookie season.
Yeah, Hill will fit right in to the Dolphins offense, but it all comes down to Tua being able to fit Hill's game, which is more of the long plays down the field as he can outrun. But I think he'll fit with Waddle, and I think that duo will be very dangerous, especially with Gesicki on the offense, and with the newly acquired Chase Edmonds as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people have also talked about the run game, but the Chiefs didn't really have a run game either. So the offense is probably going to be mostly pass with Waddle and Hill, and as you said, Mike Gesicki all pairing up.
Moving over to another crazy offseason change, this NFL offseason has been nothing short of unpredictable, as Tom Brady announced he would unretire and join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the hopes of winning another Super Bowl. Brady's retirement left a lot of people speculating about whether or not he would actually leave the game of football. And sure enough, he came back. If he wins the Super Bowl in 2022, do you think he retires? And if he doesn't, do you think he continues to play?
I think Tom Brady, if he does win a Super Bowl this season, he will retire. He definitely will. It is time, and he will be 45 years old. That's what he said. He's going to play till 45. He did say that a couple of years ago. But I'm not really too shocked by this, Tom Brady coming back. Just someone who's been in the game so long and still has a love for the game, you're not really too surprised that he will come back. And he's getting into the best part of his career, it seems like. The statistics from 2019 to 2021, an unbelievable season last year. He'll definitely continue to be unbelievable, as always.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's still going to be at the top of his game when he inevitably plays again next season. But he lost Ali Marpet from his O-line, who retired shortly after he did. So that could be a little bit of a change. But also Gronk, we don't know where he's going to go. So it could be a little different Chiefs offense going into next season.
I agree.
Now moving over to the MLB offseason. After the long lockout ended, many free agents quickly got together with teams in order to strike a deal. Carlos Correa, however, took his time deciding where he wanted to go. Ultimately, he signed a 3-year deal worth $105.3 million with opt-outs after every year with the Minnesota Twins. This comes soon after the Twins traded for and traded away shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. The deal that sent Falefa to the Yankees also sent Josh Donaldson and his $50 million contract, freeing up space for them to sign a player like Correa.
Yeah, Carlos Correa deciding to go to the Twins and all of those opt-outs in the contract, a little bit funky, I think. And for a player of Correa's caliber, he signed a short-term deal that just, I take that as he didn't 100% know if he wanted to be in Minnesota. And he's taking his time to look at his options. Maybe his options weren't great in the offseason, but he took his time, and then Minnesota, in the end, he chose. But I think in the end, Carlos Correa going to the Twins, really, really helpful to the Twins' offense and defense.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The offense and defense that he provides will be amazing for their lineup. But the only worry I would have if I was a Twins fan is his opt-outs, and will he opt out when he has the chance?
And we'll take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Thanks once again to Ben for the fast break. When we come back, Joey and I will go through our best bets and what to watch for. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports on WTOP 10.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union Building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Major Discussions is the new show that explores the stories of students right here on campus. I personally came here to SUNY Oswego for the broadcasting program because I love to hear people's stories and to do work just like this.
What's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. The pressure is too much. I quit. I get it. I can do better. Just please don't leave.
Don't let your heart quit on you. Get your uncontrolled high blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. We've talked plenty of March Madness in today's episode, but there's been lots of good basketball being played in the women's tournament. Stanford versus UConn and South Carolina versus Michigan and Louisville. Both games will take place Friday night at the Target Center with a chance to go to the championship on the line. If tonight's UConn versus NC State game is any tell for what we'll get Friday, we're in for a treat because it was an all-time classic 2-overtime game for UConn to advance. Paige Beckers is one of the most fun-to-watch players in all of college basketball, women's or men's, and it will be must-watch television when UConn takes the floor Friday with a chance to go to the national championship on the line.
It'll be interesting, this one, and you look at all those teams, and they're just so good, every single one of them. I'm looking at UConn specifically. Paige Beckers leading this team, just a lot of great players around her, and Gino Auriemma, of course, at the helm. Team to watch out for, but watch out for South Carolina as well. My What to Watch this week comes on Wednesday night in Boston for a battle at the top of the Eastern Conference as the Miami Heat take on the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are 9-1 in their last 10, while Miami sits atop the East despite a 4-game losing streak. I would expect Boston to win this matchup at TD Garden with all the momentum on their side right now. However, the Heat are up in the standings for a reason and will want to take advantage of the injury to Celtics center Robert Williams. Don't miss it. Heat versus Celtics in Boston Wednesday at 7:30.
Zach, the Celtics are hot, and they're not the only Boston team that's been hot recently, and we'll get into my best bets here. Now shifting over to best bets, my best bet is the Boston NHL team coming tomorrow night. Obviously, the Boston Bruins hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs in a showdown between two of the top teams in the league. I'm all in on the Bruins tomorrow night as they're one of the hottest teams in hockey, winning 8 of their last 10. Watch for the Frederick Coyle-Smith line tomorrow night at TD Garden, as well as star players Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak. The defense has been spectacular on this run, holding opponents to 3 or less goals in each of their 8 wins, and Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman have been fantastic between the pipes. Wouldn't be too shocked if both Boston sports teams get the job done tomorrow night, Zach.
Yeah, that's a great money line right there. The Bruins are red hot right now. Nobody can stop them. But I'm going to go to the NCAA tournament and the Final Four as the Duke Blue Devils take on the North Carolina Tar Heels as a new chapter in this rivalry. It's going to be unbelievable. I like Duke -4. It's number 2 Duke over number 8 UNC, and what a matchup we have here. We've talked a lot about it, but Mark Williams specifically down low against Armando Bacot, a matchup to watch out for. But A.J. Griffin has been red hot right now for the Duke Blue Devils. And on the other side, it's either Caleb Love or R.J. Davis. We don't know which one will step up in either game, but if one of those two will step up for North Carolina. It's going to be a big battle in what could be Coach K's final game ever.
Zach, I'm with you. Duke to beat UNC, I'm with you. -4. I like that a lot. I think they're going to beat them maybe by double digits. That's all the time we have on this episode of Stick to Sports. Be sure to tune in next week right here on WTOP 10.